Well, 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 the Dragon Commander himself. Come, sit, drink with me. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. He's had a few too many. But you'd take to the right too if you had an imp apparatus for an arm. Never told you how I came by this eyesore, did I? 'Twas during the great and glorious last stand to save the Empire. Horseshit! We fought like lions so that the king, your bloody father, could scarper with what riches he could hold. But my soldiers did their duty. They died where they stood, and I was left for dead, want of an eye and an arm. Not that any of it mattered. The king's head was shown decorating a stake, like star crowns will the pines come midwinter night. Defeat. Bah. Luckily, a touch of the malt can relieve its bitter taste. You have the respect of Maxos, and that certainly speaks in your favor. But you'll need to come a long way yet to prove unto me you're not just another pampered prince he yanked away from his mother's teat. So what'll you have then? Mead or milk? Commander, a word in your ear. There seems to be a spot of trouble in one of the provinces. Some lizard rebel running amok. Naught but a trifle that Prospera has requested us to deal with. But she wants me and Bloody Edmund to go together. Yes, he's a lizard too, it stands to reason. But the man's as pleasant as a cactus down your trousers. So if you don't mind, I'll go alone. Practice? I'll be practicing skittles with his balls before the day is out. You know that cold-blooded cretin annoys me to no end. I'll follow your orders, Commander. But we're supposed to quell an uprising, you know, not add fuel to the fire. We've returned from our mission, Commander. All's well among the lizards again. No more praise for the one god anymore, but proper prayer for the seven, or whatever floats their boat. I was hoping for at least some resistance, so that I could spill a mite of their cold blood. But there was none to be had. Diplomacy, aka idle chatter, saved the day. Wasn't such a bad thing looking back on it, that serpent of an Edmund tagged along. Obviously, we were plotting each other's demise from the get-go, but when push came to shove, we both wanted to appear the greater general, forced us to bring our A-game. Long story short, the cultists renounced their evil ways and were accepted back into society. Boring as fig stew. But Prospera's over the moon. She can stay there for all I care. By all the gods, real or imaginary, devils take my manhood if that Catherine creature isn't a bigger bitch than a mountain-sized mastiff. So what if I wage war by my own rules and care little for her so-called team tactics? That's no reason to question my ability. She's lucky she has tits to prove she's not a man, or I'd have beaten her more savagely than a dwarf is anvil. Besides, what's the use of standing shoulder to shoulder when you know the fella next to you will run once the swords start ringing and the blood begins to flow? Aye, that's what happened the day I lost my arm. I stood my ground, alone. And the rest of the Emperor's generals, they outran their wives and their litter trying to escape. So much for loyalty. So much for duty. I I find it a lot easier to tell the benefit of the doubt it can go shag itself. But if you insist, I'll give the others a chance. Though I'm sure they'll prove to be a bigger disappointment than looking for a brothel in an elf town. Commander, so I took your counsel to heart and decided I should give my fellow generals a chance to prove they are worthy of my esteemed friendship and perhaps even trust. What better test I can put them to, I ask myself, than the holy game of poker? See who's shrewd, behold who bluffs, descry who dares and when. So that's what I did. Rounded them up and played from dusk till dawn. You were right. They're not a bad bunch once you get to know them. Obviously, I left their purses emptier than Yorick's skull, which does do wonders for my temper. Can't rightly say if that endeared me to them, but I'm sure as hell I'd like to see more of them once this month's wages come in.
Commander, we have anxiously awaited your return, for our spies brought dire news. Some obscure nobleman by the name of Drury has ordered top assassins to kidnap and kill Henry's daughter Anne. Her death would crush him, and that's exactly how that prick tries to get the attention of our enemies. By robbing you of one of your generals, he seeks the same post in their armies. You know there'd be no stopping Henry. He sped off home the instant he heard the news, so now Catherine and I would like your permission to go after him. If he has to face those backstabbing bastards, we want to face them with him. Yes, Commander. We'll hack them to pieces and be back in time for happy hour.
Good to see you, Commander. I've been meaning to thank you for the role you've played in the rescue of my dear Anne. 'Twould have been another story entirely had Catherine and Scarlet not come to my aid. Wonders of women. You should have seen us. And we reached before those bloody assassins did. But they beset us in far greater numbers than we could have foreseen. They used imp-throwing bombs, lizard arrows tipped with poison, dwarf axes that could cut through steel, but we held them off time and again. We three duelists, shoulder to shoulder. Of course, there was a touch of collateral damage, I suppose. One of those imp devices rolled right into an undead kindergarten. But really, those skeletal scamps are already dead to begin with, right? I thought it was rather funny. A shower of bones, it was, came clattering down like dry hail. Is that a reason to be a killjoy and scream bloody murder? 'Cause that's what those gods-be-damned counselors of yours are doing. They demand restitution and the likes. I've half a mind to demonstrate what functionalities come with this arm of mine, and where they can put them. I suppose not. So what happens next? I have to pay a fine or something? Do community service for the undead? Air out some crypts and polish their coffins? Bah! By every demon ass in hell, the things we do for our children, Commander. It's over, Commander. I stood before a tribunal, was described as a maniac, a vandal, an arsonist, and even a murderer. But I bore it all with quiet dignity, my jaws clenched tighter than Prosper's arse. They took my land, my titles, what gold I had stored, but I stood in silence, not giving them the satisfaction of showing my rage. Quite a change from the hothead Henry you know and love, isn't it, Commander? 'Twas down to Catherine and Scarlet, you know. Never would I have let those bastards of counselors unleash their barrage of injustice over me had I not rested easily in the knowledge that thereby I was shielding the friends who came to my aid without as much as a thought for their own safety. My daughter came to no harm, and neither did my comrades in arms. All is well. Now, to toast them all with wine and beer, and again and again. It'll have to be your treat, though, Commander. I'm penniless now, remember? I might be ruined and roofless, but that just means I'll have to spend all my leisure time right here on the Raven. Won't that be a treat? First one that goes miserly on me, though, will have a worse time of it than an elf at a dwarven dentist. They can afford to keep me like a king. It's not because I'm broke that Alf will go grog down my gullet, steak in my stomach, or broads in my bed. Not on your life, Commander. Come to have a chat, Commander. Just as well, for I've been meaning to have a word with the dragon myself. Remember when I told you about losing my arm and eye? How I lost it standing guard for your father, an emperor unworthy of his throne? Well, telling you got me thinking, as well as drinking. And here's the conclusions I've come to. I was different then, you see, and not just because I was more man and less machine. No, the day they hacked me up good, there was much more that I lost. In that arm lay stored loyalty and duty. In that eye, trust and friendship. Out the door, just like that. But lately, they've been clawing at it, wanting to come back in. We've got a fine bunch of generals here, Commander. And there's Edmund too, but let's not open that particular can of worms. No, it's the girls, Scarlet and Catherine. Guess I've never come closer to women without wanting to get in their pants. I respect them as officers, I really do. And I think that should history repeat itself, they would stand by me as we make our last stand, not run like the mongrels that still stain my memories. If there's trust to be had, I think they've earned mine, Commander, as of you. The sins of your father need not be yours. You have my sword and my friendship too. There! Now you know. So enough of this sentimental elf talk and let's drink! To us! To the Raven! To victory! We're having a game of poker tonight, Commander. The generals have invited the councillors to join. I bet I'll have Falstaff crying within the hour, and the deeds to his castles before the night is through.